Hi, how are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
Hey guys, how's it going on here? Welcome to a new F1 2016 video. This time we'll be racing around the Hungaroring, the Hungarian Grand Prix. So excited for it, as we have just seen a new update has arrived as well. As you can see on the left hand side, Scuderia Toro Rosso also came with a few updates. There we saw quickly what the R&D path is looking like at the minute.
Hi, just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
And here, as always, we can see the qualifying goals we have got coming into the qualifying session.
Good afternoon, race fans, and here we are again for qualifying at the Hungaroring. Who will have tuned the perfect setup for their car? We'll find out soon.
Well then, rainy conditions in this first qualifying session. Now, immediately I can tell you that Q3 will be dry, Q2 will be dry as well. At least I think Q2 is dry in terms of any kind of rain. It will not rain in that session, but obviously I think at the start of that session the track is a little bit damp still. It's a little bit wet, so most likely at the end of Q2 is when you want to be out on track, because then the track will be in the quickest state. We're still in Q1 though, yet to go through into Q2, but obviously, you know, that's usually not a big problem for us anymore, which is obviously nice. At the end of the lap here in Q1 as well, nothing really seemed to be going on, nothing massive. I even took a lot of fuel with me here, so yeah, there was still a bit of time in the back obviously, but hey, it's Q1, everyone is not showing the back of their tongue yet, and we are setting a 1:34.9, basically 1:35 flat. Half a second off Verstappen, but that's not what matters, or that's not what counts. What counts is that you go through to Q2, and that's exactly what we did quite easily. Again, setting the time late in the session, because the track conditions were at their best at the end of the session. And same for Q2 here, you can see it on the counter in the top right of your screen. Just under 20 seconds to go in the session, and well, we are timing this I think almost perfect. We're coming across the line at right about 5 seconds to go, maybe a little bit less. There we go, 5. Well, okay, well, that's timed right. I think with 4 seconds to go we came across the line there, so perfectly timed here. Again, like I said before, I think the later you set your time, the more of an advantage it's going to be for you. Rosberg currently in P1, and this was the only time I went out on track as well. I was just purely timing this for the last lap, because I was pretty sure that, you know, the last lap is what counts here the most. You can set a lap with 10 minutes to go, but the track simply won't be as quick as when you do it right at the end of the qualifying session. So trying to optimize the lap time I can get by crossing the line as late as I could. We did it with 4 seconds to go, so there was still a little bit left to spare, but you want to leave a little bit of margin as well, I assume. So coming through this lap, nothing too shabby to be honest, or not too shabby I should say, not too, you know, not fantastic either. Very easy to extend the track there. You'll see me, I think, doing that in the race a little bit here and there as well. But remember, you guys have told me that I don't want to blame you guys, but you know, people have told me to be a little bit more, you know, a little bit more conservative on the corner cuts, and it's fine. You know, a cut here or there is fine. Don't be too strict on yourself. Crossing the line, a 1:22.2, and actually, look at that, we're not into Q3, and that is maybe a bit of a surprise to be honest. Remember, Silverstone easily through to Q3, and now, well, not even making it. And honestly, obviously we could have made it, but look at what tire I went with. I went with the soft tire, and I came half a second short at the end, and honestly that's quite a massive gap.
I have some information on the race goals you should keep in mind.
So no retries there, I simply failed in that session. Perhaps if I went with a softer compound I could have gone through, but the lap itself wasn't great either.
It's always wonderful to come back to the lively Hungaroring. A popular destination this, nice and close to the beautiful city of Budapest, with some exciting racing to boot. Who can forget Michael Schumacher pushing his old teammate Rubens Barrichello up towards the pit wall in 2010, or those great races of 2014 and 2015 as well.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Rosberg, Verstappen, Kimi Raikkonen, and Massa, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Alonso, and Daniel Kvyat. A Renault, Ricciardo, Jenson Button, and Perez, Bottas, Palmer, Rio Haryanto, and Roman Grosjean, Gutierrez, and Wehrlein, Marcus Ericsson, and Felipe Nasser starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So in the practice session then before the qualifying, as we see the setup here, I wasn't doing too bad, the pace wasn't too bad either. So it was a bit of a shock really to not be through to Q3. But you never know how these things go. You know, the first lap is always quite interesting because the AI is relatively slow in the first lap. You can, you know, make up quite a few positions on the opening lap. So maybe we'll try to do that a bit as well. Starting from 11th, then I selected the medium tire, going for a different strategy than the people ahead of us, obviously in the top 10. Most of them are on the super soft tire. Here we go then, lights out, away we go. Sainz on the right hand side, not having a great start at all. We're right behind Alonso here. Going on the inside, he leaves plenty of room there. Same for Hülkenberg, same for Massa. So it's already, what is it, 4 positions gained I believe. Then Verstappen is slow off the the exit of the first turn. So we'll take him as well. On the inside of Raikkonen straight away as well. This is what I meant with the first lap is quite interesting. You can make up plenty of positions and that's exactly what we have done as long as they are all clean. To be fair, we had a decent start, but I only made up 1 position at the start, I think, which was Sainz. It was really the first and second turn where we were able to make up a few positions. But now, obviously, as the race goes on, the AI, their pace picks up a little bit again. And by the end of lap 2, I would say already, they're up to their full potential, up to their full pace. So now is the test for us. You know, can we stick with the AI or not? And the answer, you know, with use of you know, common sense, is no, because we're on the medium tire. Rosberg is on the soft, and the car ahead of him, which is Vettel, I think he's on the super soft, just like his teammate Raikkonen is, and I think the leader Hamilton is also on super soft, but that will be clear in a little bit of a later stage, I'm sure, in this race. First lap completed then, and immediately we've got a Ferrari filling our mirrors, so it's not easy to keep him behind, I would say. He is on the super soft compound, we're on the medium. Now one thing that is in our advantage is the guys around us, their tires obviously will degrade faster than our tires. That's the advantage we have got. And again, in the practice session, the pace was not bad at all. So, you know, it was a shock to see us out in Q2. But honestly, the lap wasn't great. And I was on the wrong compound, you would have to argue. I really thought that I could make it into Q3 using the harder compound, the soft compound. And that was a mistake. That was a pure mistake by me. And well, I have to face the consequences. Maybe got a little bit too confident really after the last couple of rounds where we were able to qualify in the top 10 quite easily. This time it was just not gonna happen, was it? Back to the race though, end of lap 2. Like I said before, this is where the AI are up to their full pace already. And we'll see if we can stick with at least the top 2. Or sorry, at least the 2 cars ahead of us, I should say. Because Hamilton, the leader, is absolutely pulling away. He's got massive pace. I'm sure we'll see a lap time here as he crosses the line. 1:23.7. We are crossing the line and setting a 1:24.3. So a full 6/10 slower a lap. And that is massive around a short track like the Hungaroring. 6/10 really is massive. But what else do you expect with the compounds? Now, talking about the compounds, obviously, we're a bit of on a different path compared to the cars around us. Is that going to be any kind of, you know, will that play any kind of role in this race? I think yes, I really think so. We're on the medium tires, obviously we'll go longer. Can we also perhaps save a pit stop? I'm not sure. A 1 stop seems to be impossible almost, I would say. We'll see how this race pans out. But coming into this, I did not expect to do a 1 stop at all. So we're looking at a 2 stop really. And I think at some point we have to run the soft tire as well. I don't think we can run mediums twice. So that immediately really puts the one stop outside of the window. Really, that's where I have a little bit of a track extent. It didn't really help me though, because Raikkonen is right in our mirrors again. But so far, for the time being, we are able to stick with both Rosberg and Vettel, and that is quite interesting and encouraging sight to see as well. Although I'm pretty sure that Rosberg is being held up himself a little bit by Vettel as well. I'm sure Rosberg could go a little bit faster. That is quite a massive extent, to be honest. That was a bit too big. Another 24.3. And Rosberg having a little look on the inside of Vettel. Raikkonen not really having the balls to put it down our inside into turn 1. So we're still safe in the P4 at the minute. And now is around the time where you would think, where you are going to assume, the super soft guys at least are going to start struggling a little bit, and our medium tires are still relatively fresh. They don't degrade as fast as the super soft tires from both Raikkonen, Vettel, and I think Hamilton is on the super soft tires as well. Rosberg, yes, he's on the soft tire, but he is running the exact same pace as Vettel because he's being held up. Same for us on our medium tires. Starting up lap 5 then. 24.7. The pace is indeed decreasing from Vettel up front. Having said that, Rosberg himself isn't doing much better himself either. There's a bit of a gap again forming between Rosberg and Vettel. Hamilton in the meantime is absolutely running away with it into the distance, but I don't think we're in such a bad position. P4 after starting in P11, and we seem to have decent pace. We can stick with second place. Hamilton, that's another story. We can't stick with him as I have to live there. I'm not going to go side by side with Rosberg into this uphill left-hander. That's a bit dangerous, to be honest. I don't want to risk that already in lap 5 of the race. But again, we see that the gap between Rosberg and Vettel is extending a little bit. Excuse me, struggling to get the words out of my mouth there. The car behind Raikkonen, a Red Bull, is also starting to close up again. And now is the time where Vettel says, I've had enough. Vettel comes into the pit lane then. Same for Hamilton. So indeed, that confirms our theory that Hamilton is on a super soft tire. And that releases Rosberg, of course, immediately having a look on the inside of Rosberg. Try to get by as soon as possible, because it would be quite nice if I could have gone by there straight away. If I would have gotten by there straight away. There we go. Couldn't do it though. Couldn't cut it. Rosberg, what is that? What is that all about? Was that engine smoking, or was that his tires? Oh, keep it on track. Keep it on track. I think that may have been his tires actually. Bit of luck up there from Rosberg then into turn 2. His engine seems to be okay again. So there was a bit of smoke generating from Rosberg's tires, I would assume, although it is a rather weird place really to get a lockup, but whatever. So we would expect Raikkonen to come in soon as well, most likely this lap, following his teammate Vettel and Hamilton of course. But Rosberg not really pulling away. Look at this. We're looking quite good, and now I have to stop. I have to stop now with the extending, because now it's getting a bit excessive in my opinion. Starts to get a little bit ugly. So let's have a look here. Penultimate corner, last corner. This one is important. If you want to get a run on Rosberg here, try to have a good exit. Try to cut back as best as I can. Straighten up the car quite early to get on the power as early as possible. Open up the DRS in the slipstream up to rich mixture. I think we can do it here on the inside of turn 1. Breaking at the one on the leaderboard just before that even, to get it slowed down, and we get that place indeed. So up to first now. And man, oh man, this is a nice race we have got forming here, because we have got plenty of different strategies going on here. We are on the medium tires ourselves. Rosberg is on the soft tire. Bottas is on the super soft. He's still staying out. Raikkonen was on the super soft. Vettel was on the super soft, and Hamilton was on the super soft. But I wouldn't really count on Hamilton anymore. I wouldn't count on us overtaking Hamilton at all. I think he is miles faster than us, and now starts an incredible sequence of laps really. It's lap 9, and the gap to Rosberg is extending, and this is fantastic news. And this again proves the theory that we have got decent pace. Rosberg is pitting. We are setting a 1:24.4. Now keep an eye out on the lap times over the rest of over the remainder of this stint, because I find it very, very tricky, very hard to be consistent in this game. Basically, if I were to drive now on the soft tire or the super soft, there was no way I was gonna hit consistent lap times. However, these medium tires were working flawlessly around this track for some reason. The consistency was quite good, and that has to be expected a little bit as well, because it's the hardest compound. They don't degrade as much as the super soft or the soft over the course of a lap, obviously. Therefore you can stay quite consistent every lap. Of course they do degrade, but you have to keep in mind as well, you burn fuel away, so the car gets quicker because you burn the fuel, but at the same time the car gets slower because your tires degrade. Nicely within the white lines there, I believe that's the way you want to do it. That's much better than what I did before. So you know, the lack of pace because of the tire wear was compromised very, very well with the fuel that was being burnt off. So 1:24.4 last time round. Here is where we start the sequence of laps I was talking about. Keep an eye out on the laps. 1:24.4 once again. 1:24.3, that's the new fastest lap for us. 1:24.3, another 24.3. And at the end of lap 13 we go back on board with us. Of course, a consistent sequence of laps are being put in right now, but the more laps I put in as well, the more I thought, hey, can I actually do a one stop here? I'm not sure. 1:24.3, identical time to our previous best, or our personal best. 1:24.9, bit of a scruffy lap. Then 1:24.5 then again, and that is where we keep right about there, where we stay right about there. 1:24.5 once again, as we jump on board with us for a lap here. Lap 17. We're closer towards the end of the stint, and actually we're about halfway into this race as well. And now was the time I was thinking, one stop or not. And for the viewers who have paid a lot of attention, they would have seen at the end of lap 13 there, which I showed, there was an engineer call. Oh, yes, we got a warning there. Was that a track extend? I didn't pay attention. Could have been. I got a call from the engineer at the end of lap 13. Hamilton has a problem. So he was gonna get a bit slower, and as you can see in the top left, lap 17, Vettel has overtaken Hamilton. So remember that gap that Hamilton had in the first stint? That has vanished. It has absolutely vanished, and Vettel has overtaken him. This is excellent news. This is really excellent news. The only thing we now have to be concerned about is the strategy. Are we going to do a two-stop, or are we doing that one stop? If we want to do a one stop, I would say pit lap 20, do 15 laps on the soft. That would seem quite reasonable. 1:24.5, another 24.5 that lap, so the consistency is still there. At the end of the race I'll show you a picture with the laps from lap 10 onwards or something like that. There was one scruffy lap in there, 1:24.9, where I did make a mistake. And that's quite unfortunate, because it's nice to have such a consistent sequence of laps, but unfortunately it then gets ruined by one off lap, I would like to call it. Again, that was too much. Yep, there we go, a time penalty, rightly deserved, I'm gonna have to admit. We already had a warning there. If that's not enough, then I don't know what is enough. That penalty which is being shoved into our face here is absolutely deserved. And this is a thing about my driving that we saw in Silverstone as well. I need to be more precise with the track usage. It's not always the case. If you extend the track you gain time. That's not the case. Usually even if you extend the track you can lose time as well. But even if you lose time, that's not a valid excuse. If you extend the track, if you go beyond the track limits, like I do there, again I pick up a warning, you can expect a penalty, and rightly so, and then you have no valid reason to complain, in my opinion. And what I'm doing here is absolutely stupid. I was extending again in the final corner. You know, I was trying to tell myself, you know, wake up, you know, we're in a good position, don't let it slip out of your hands. And perhaps I've already let it slip outside of my hands by already picking up a penalty of 3 seconds, I believe it was. So can we finish this race with a 3-second gap? I know this race is perhaps a little bit boring. We're just driving out here in front, but from my perspective, from a driver's perspective, I was pushing every lap. I was trying to be consistent, trying to bang in all those laps, trying to get them as fast as possible, of course. Try to get the time as low as possible, because the lower the lap time, obviously, the faster it is. Now we get an engineer call as well. Power from the engine is going to be down slightly. Well, whatever. Nothing was going to stop this great stint we have got going here, because lap 20 we have still not stopped. And here we go, a one stop. I absolutely did not expect this. Around lap 14, I think, is where it popped into my mind. A one stop, I think it is possible. And we still have a pretty healthy gap to Vettel as well. 15 seconds. And I would assume Vettel is going to make another pit stop right after we have made ours as well. So this is absolutely fantastic news. And I must say, this first stint went very, very well. Especially once we got in clean air. It was incredibly consistent. Well, incredibly consistent, quite consistent. And this is the first time really I felt like I've been able to put in consistent lap times on this game. Because it is really hard to be consistent here. And consistent, I come from the... well, what you wouldn't call it a generation. I come from the side of racing where consistency means 10 laps or more within 2 tenths. That is what I was used to while I was driving in Formula Sim racing. But you can't compare that was a simulator as we exit the pit lane, to this game. In this game it is much harder, as we get a virtual safety car. It is much harder to be consistent. And I would consider consistency in this game to be within 4 tenths or something like that after 10 laps. And in Formula Sim racing it would maybe be 2 tenths in more than 10 laps. So there's a difference there, and that is why I always struggled a little bit to be consistent in this game. On this game, it is simply not easy. It is not easy at all to be consistent in this game, and that is mainly down to the way the tires wear, especially the softer compounds. Obviously they wear faster than the harder compounds, and they are harder to be consistent with. Anyway, back to the racing here, and there is some racing going on. Verstappen versus Raikkonen, those two have met before. Remember Spa 2016? We've already overtaken Raikkonen though. Can we also overtake Verstappen around the outside? We're on the faster compound around the outside. Yes, we can. Outside of turn 2 up to P1 again. What a way to take back the lead here. So, well, we have been driving. Can Verstappen get back? Can he get back? I'm trying to block him there. Yeah, okay. Well, that was a bit cheeky maybe by me, but I think that's the only way that was gonna go there at the end. I mean, that was the racing line, so let's try to stick to that. Verstappen had nowhere to go. Keep the car a bit on the middle of the road as well. Nothing he can do. So what a way to take back first place. We have been driving, well, alone for a long while in this race, but in that lap there I was able to get some side-by-side battling going, which is always nice, obviously. But now that we're driving alone again, it's gonna be well, a game based on numbers. Lap time is now everything, and the question is, can we get, excuse me, another stint, super stint, like we had at the start of this race, that first stint? Can we get another one like that? And can we get another stint like that? And can we also get the tires to last towards the end? Remember, we're on the one stop. Remember that, because a one stop, maybe it seems easier than it is around this track. Before the race started, the game recommended either a 3-stop or a 2-stop, and here we are trying to do that 1-stop. Obviously, starting on the medium compound helps. Let's be honest. But we put that medium compound to good use, to very good use, and immediately in the first stint, while we were able to keep up with Vettel, who was on the super soft tire, it has been looking promising. One thing that should be mentioned as well, though, I think Hamilton would have been, as we have 10 laps to go, Hamilton would have been tough competition for us. I'm not sure whether we would have been able to be in this position as well with Hamilton, because I think, considering also we have a time penalty, Hamilton would be favorite to win this race, I would say. Speaking of Hamilton, he sets the fastest lap at 122.1, so that's indeed very, very fast. Tried to lap the Sauber there, Sauber here. I wasn't really sure what he was doing there. He was kind of in the middle of the road, and I was like, this is not a good place. He was basically on the racing line. If he moved to the inside a little bit, I could have gone on the outside, and that is the racing line, obviously, coming into the uphill left-hander. So again, 23.0, 23.2, 23.2, 23.1, well, effectively a 23.2, 23.3, 23.2, 24.3. So here is where we see a drop-off, but who cares? Final lap of this game, who cares? As our teammate is parked there on the inside of turn 1. I could not care anymore about the lap times at this stage. Again, we've had a fantastic final stint. Rosberg is overtaking, or has overtaken, Vettel here right at the end of the game of the race, and Hamilton is not even within the top 3. So the issue that Hamilton had, I'm sure that the engineer said it was fixed, by the way. I'm very, very sure about that. And again, ooh, penalty. Oh, the final lap of the race as well. So that's a 6-second penalty now, and I'm lucky that I've got a 12-second gap still to Rosberg. So remember, I said at some point in this race 15-second gap to Vettel. It's now down to 12 seconds, so effectively we've lost 3 seconds, not to Vettel but to Rosberg a bit as well, in the last couple of laps in this race. Basically this final stint also went quite well, but with these soft tires there's a clear drop-off. With the mediums there's a clear drop-off as well, but it takes quite a little while before you get there. Obviously the mediums, the softs, they were faster than the mediums, so the drop-off comes sooner, lap times drop sooner, consistency is a little bit less. But anyway, we're crossing the line here and taking home a victory. And this race, I don't know, we started from P11, and somehow with one stop we had no kind of traffic, no one was around us. We were simply driving in our own from lap 9-ish onwards, and that was it. We saved a pit stop compared to our competitors, maybe even 2, I'm not entirely sure. And there we are at the end, first place, and a fantastic victory. And most importantly, Hamilton, championship leader, not on the podium.
It was a great win, and it means a great deal to this team.
Again then, like I said, the pace I thought I had in practice came to show in the race, and not in qualifying obviously at all. Still though, winning from P11, it may have been actually a benefit that we didn't make it to Q3, because of that we could start on the medium tires, and indeed save 1 pit stop compared to our opponents.
And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
It's a difficult one, but I'll have to go for the Renault driver. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula 1, so it was a great effort.
And now let's take a look at the constructors' standings. Mercedes have extended their lead at the top of the standings. Meanwhile, Toro Rosso's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. There'll be plenty more twists and turns to come this season. I hope you can join us at the next race to see just who will come out on top.
So I believe this is right around the midway or the halfway mark of the season. 44 points behind Lewis Hamilton. We're still leading, but we're getting closer to him. We're actually getting closer to him. Now, let me think. Austria, we won there. I think after that came Silverstone. We challenged for the win there, but honestly, I bottled it. But still finished ahead of Hamilton, I believe. And now, Hungary, we win again. Despite the win, though, we have lost our rivalry to Raikkonen. That's alright though. I can take that. I can live with that. We've got the win in the pocket. That's what's most important to me, obviously. But what a race! I mean, you spent the whole race basically on your own, and that can also be a benefit, because the only person you're looking at then is yourself, and that can usually, and there we see it indeed. First, third, first. That can indeed up your game, in my opinion, when you only focus at yourself. And that can also mean an increase in consistency, like we saw there. If you're busy with all kind of other things, it costs concentration, and it costs lap time usually as well. It costs consistency. So maybe, you know, not making it to Q3 was actually an advantage here. Here we see then laps 9, 10, or laps 9 up until lap 21. Quite consistent, 24.3, 24.4, 24.4. Those were identical lap times, 24.3, 24.3, 24.3, 24.9. That was the strive-free lap. Then we got a bit of a drop-off, 24.5, 24.5. Well, you can see it on your screen there, and we got a further drop-off. But quite consistent, other than that 24.9 that was in there. Bit of a shame, you know, it kind of ruins the flow there. But whatever, we picked up a victory. That's what's most important. Quite an interesting race then. Maybe not the best race ever for the viewers to watch, because there wasn't a lot of side-by-side battling. But again, trust me, from a driver's perspective, it was quite an intense race, and quite a good race as well. That first stint, you know, absolutely put us up, or that first stint lined ourselves up to get a good result here. And well, that's awesome, obviously. I'm gonna leave it at that though. If you have enjoyed this video, I would sincerely appreciate a like. Thanks all again for watching. I hope to be there soon with the next episode of the F1 2016 Career Mode. Take care everyone, and goodbye.